place. I mean, it's clean, it's contemporary, it's very hip, and it's safe. That's amazing. So
Yeah.
A woman could go over and travel without too much fear of having
Oh, no
anything
fear.
happen.
Zero fear. Yeah.
So let's talk
Absolutely.
a minute about do you have income tax and all those basic things that we have in the States, but what is it like?
No.
I'm sure it's probably somewhat expensive. I mean, from the looks of things, but tell us about the cost of living there.
Yeah. So there's no tax. It's a tax-free country. So whatever your salary is, you take all of it home. So a lot of expatriates, literally move to Dubai to do just that. You'll also find, and this is why we've got such glamorous real estate as well on offer. You'll also find that very successful business owners, particularly from Europe or other countries, they don't want to remain in Europe with paying the taxes they do. So they come and they set up their companies in Dubai because it's tax free, and it makes sense, right? So these types of people obviously have moved to Dubai. It's like another Monaco. It's like another BVI, like all these tax-free countries. But you've got people that are coming with a lot of money and they put it into the real estate industry because they want a nice home. They want a nice penthouse. Some of them want to lock up and go. Others want to actually settle and bring out their families. And, in everything that's happened in the last 6 months with COVID, we've all been able to work from home more and more. So people are thinking, well, why do I need to stay in the UK when I can be in a tax-free country, sunshine all year round? The children are happy, it's a safer environment. There's just so many reasons why Dubai, quite frankly.
It really is getting more and more exciting as I talk to you. I thought it was exciting before. Now I'm ready to get on a plane. I'm going to.
Oh, please do. Please do, and I'll be your tour guide. I didn't mention. Sorry, Deborah. No, I was going to say I didn't mention to you, but before real estate, I was actually a tour guide. So I used to take people on holiday all over the world. So I think that's also why my clients love it when they come and buy property with me, because you're buying property, but you actually, I'll actually take my clients through what is where and how it is to live here. I think that's really important.
Oh, I can see. I would go on a trip with you. Yeah, for sure. If you were gonna guide me through, you would know what to do. So when somebody's talking about, well, I want to buy a house or a property in Dubai, what kinds of properties are available? Because we're familiar with single family homes and condominiums and things like that. Yeah. But what's available? Talk a little bit about some of the terminology maybe in Dubai, like lease versus rent versus buy, co-ops and that sort of thing, just so people can get a feel for the different options.
Well, so first of all, because we are so far away from the US, everything is very heavily influenced by the UK, not by the USA. So even our terminology is English. So, for example, we have apartments for sale. We have townhouses, and a townhouse is what we say in the UK is when either side of your property you're attached to your neighbor, right? Like a townhouse. Right. And then we also have villas, independent villas. And then we'll have mansions on the beach. We'll have penthouses. And yeah, you mentioned co-ops. So the co-op idea is really like a form of service charge that you will pay to maintain the building, right?
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Well,
so
we have monthly condominium fees, or fees that are where the common grounds are maintained, and that's
absolutely yeah. So it's actually very similar in Dubai. So we call them service charges, and that's only for the owner. It's not for the tenant. So basically, when you imagine you were to buy a 1-bedroom apartment. So by the way, something you should know: every building in Dubai has a swimming pool and a gym in the building. Every single one. So it's really funny I tell you that. The reason is
you have no excuse for not looking good all the time.
Well, exactly. But I tell you, because when I first started looking for a flat to rent, I kept saying, now, does this one have a swimming pool and a gym? And I was like, gosh, it's amazing. They all seem to have them. And then I literally was told they all have them.
That's amazing. That's just amazing. Yeah. That's a big plus.
It is a big plus.
You're going to save money having to go to a gymnasium separately.
Yeah.
Good.
Well, we do also have very fancy gymnasiums because, of course, we all like that really trendy kind of club membership style. So you can choose if you use your gym in the building or you go to a really nice gym. But we also have a security guard in every building, and they're a 24-hour security guard. And there's parking underground. So going back to the service charges, there is a service charge fee that is charged on the square footage of the property size that you own. And as a landlord, you pay that, or as an owner, but you do not pay that as a tenant. So that's something that, people should be aware of. Now, if you're buying a villa, then there is still a service charge fee for like the general maintenance of the road outside, but it's so small, it's hardly there. So generally, obviously we all know in the apartment buildings or condominiums, as you call it in America, you've got a lot more sort of communal areas that need to be taken care of, right? And you need a sinking fund as well, because every couple of years the building needs to be repainted or etc. to protect your assets. So that sinking fund is all part of the service charges, and you pay the service charges every quarter generally.
Oh, okay. Well, that's good to know then. But I read about something called an investor residence visa. What is that about, and how long does it last, and what's involved with it, and why would somebody be interested in it?
Yeah, absolutely. So the investor residence visa is for anybody that spends a minimum of 1 million dirham or over, which is approximately 280,000 US dollars. So once you've bought a property, then you can apply for your investor visa. It takes about 8 weeks to apply. And then basically you can come in and out of the country, and you don't need to actually have a job in Dubai. You can just come in and out to live in your property. But what it does state, and we are a country that loves to have like a nanny or a maid. I know it might not be normal in other countries and cultures, but in the Middle East, it's very normal to have a maid, somebody to clean the house and look after the children. So the reason I state that is if you have an investor residency visa, you cannot sponsor a maid on that visa. You can only sponsor a maid if you have an actual work visa. So just small little details. And obviously, when I'm working with my clients, Debbie, then we go through in detail what it is that they're looking for so that we can find the right solution.
It sounds like there's a good number of options, though. So that's
good. Yeah. Oh, yes. There's always something for everyone.
If you're an American expat, how long term can you live in Dubai? Does it have to be renewed every so often? A lot of people want to literally move permanently to another location, but are there restrictions in Dubai as to how long someone could stay?
No restrictions. Good. You can settle here for another 35 years, forever. Your visa keeps getting renewed. I mean, the thing you have to understand is that since COVID has hit, and Dubai is predominantly the hospitality and tourism capital of the Middle East, predominantly, I'm just generalizing here. So right now, Dubai is really, really open and welcoming residents and new residents. So actually, everything is only going to get easier and easier as we go forwards, not the other way around. So if today, and by the way, laws change by the week. So if today I tell you that there's a retirement visa and it's renewable every 2 years, we'll probably find, and it has already come in the papers about 8 months ago, that eventually there'll be a 5-year retirement visa minimum, or even a 10-year. So it's all.
I would think that would be an incentive. They're trying to get people to come over and settle there.
Absolutely.
It's just so exciting. Well, talk for a minute. People, we talked about healthcare, but people are also interested in how do you get around, transportation, car rental, airports, and that sort of thing. How do they get in once they're there? How do they get around?
So basically, as we all know, Emirates Airlines is extremely famous, and I mean, it's my favorite airline in the world. So you definitely arrive in style. Dubai Airport is something else. It even has palm trees inside the airport, stunning. But once you arrive, there are taxis everywhere, and taxis are so cheap because what you have to understand is we were in an oil producing country, so petrol or gas, as you guys call it in America, is so cheap it's untrue. Like, everybody owns 4-wheel drives, and you just don't even blink if you drive 100 miles in an hour. Like, you just don't care because well, I mean, you should care, but what I'm saying is you don't look at your clock like we do in the UK and say, goodness, look how much I've spent on petrol. It's just so cheap, right?
Yeah, well, I can understand that. It varies over here from, maybe it's $1.50 and up to $4. I mean, we've had a whole range of stuff, but unfortunately, we're having to wind up, and I could talk to you for hours about all the things that but I wanted to make sure we had a chance to talk about, when you see things from space and look down on Dubai, you see the palm and all the Burj Khalifa and all the different, talk about some of the different landmarks that are there, and this expo that's going to be held in the Palm and what it's about, so that people maybe could come over for that.
Yeah, so basically most people will know Dubai first by the Palm Jumeirah. So it's the largest man-made island in the world, and it looks like the shape of a palm tree, and Atlantis is at the end. So that's probably what most people know Dubai as. Burj Khalifa is the world's tallest tower. But then Expo 2020 that you just mentioned is actually a tourism show that happens every 6 years somewhere in the world. And it basically is an exposition, like a show of the future. And Dubai was nominated for this year. And unfortunately, due to COVID, in fact, it was going to be starting, sadly, in 5 days' time. But due to COVID, it's been put back 1 year. And that means that we've all got an opportunity to come to Dubai next year. It's a 6-month show, Debbie. And basically, it's going to be what is going to happen in the future throughout the world in space. And just to give your listeners an idea, the Eiffel Tower in Paris was unraveled at the expo in Paris. Alexander Bell's famous telephone was actually launched at another expo hundreds of years ago. So it's usually a very opportunist time for something new and exciting, a new invention in the planet. We just don't know what's coming. And if I know anything about Dubai, I wouldn't be surprised if there's going to be a flying car or a flying robot. Something amazing will be launched next year. So if people want to come and visit, definitely make sure it overlaps that 6 months from October of next year.
So starting October 2021
for 6 months, yeah.
For 6 months. Well, it sounds like we call it the World's Fair, but it wasn't 6 months. It was but I've been to several World Fairs here in the States, but it's interesting to think about, and that's a really good excuse to come over. So
absolutely.
Let listeners know. So they buy a ticket, they fly to Dubai, and then how can they find a hotel to stay in for the time that they want to be? Let's say they only want to stay a few weeks. What would the process be?
Very easy. All the hotels are online. TripAdvisor. There are so many 5-star hotels. You just wouldn't even know which one to choose. So, I would do a couple of days in downtown next to Burj Khalifa, and then the rest of the time choose a nice beach location. And, if they want to, they're very welcome to contact me, and I can give some advice on the best places to be. And also, most people love to experience at least a night in the desert. We have some fabulous 5-star hotels right in the middle of the desert. So there really is something for everyone, Debbie. But what I would say is don't just come for 3 or 4 days to Dubai. You want to give it at least 1 week, if not more.
I think so. I think maybe 2 to 3 to maybe even a month would be ideal.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Well, since we're on the topic of the expo, and since you said contact, could you let the listeners know what is the best way to contact you? I know you have a fabulous Facebook page, but how would you want people to contact you through email or whatever to find out, or to work with you if they're coming over for the expo in 2021 starting October?
Absolutely. So the best email address for me would be lucyparkerdubai@gmail.com. So that's Lucy, Lucy, Parker, as in Parker, Dubai, Dubai @gmail.com, or they can WhatsApp me at +971 and then 529-111-070. And of course, as you said, I'm on Facebook at Lucy J. Parker. I'm on LinkedIn, Lucy Parker, and I'm on Instagram, Lucy J. Parker _.
Well, I could talk to you for days, and you made me more excited than ever to want to come over. I've been
Aw.
talking about going to Dubai for ages. And I'm so excited that I was finally able to have you on the show, and you've given such a wealth of information to everyone. And I do appreciate your coming on the show. And I hope to see you in Dubai sometime in 2020.